Very, very good day of price action for COSM as it rips to the upside and gets a rejection at about $4. Let's go ahead and find out what could be happening for the following sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a COSM, technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this happy Friday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so we're looking at COSM on the daily chart here, and this is the triangle that we were looking at for a potential breakout. And as you can see, it is a buy formation breakout because we have a smaller falling wedge right down here, which is kind of the reason we saw the potential breakout, other than the fact that we were already at about 90% to the apex of the larger term triangle. The reason we were able to see the upside coming in was particular to the smaller falling wedge, because we were already at that 65 to 70% to the apex, which is usually when we claim the apex, or where the breakout happens per this formation, right? So this is a complex formation breakout, though. What you should know is that usually when we break out of these formations, we find resistance at a Fibonacci level, a geometric target, or a historical resistance. In this case, please notice that this candle right here has a lot to, the candle high of this one here, right, has a lot to do with the resistance that we faced on this one right over here. Not only that, please go ahead and look to the right over here at $3.99 was the 0618 golden mean. Of course, lots of things are just going to go ahead and get in the way, right? So this was what I tweeted earlier today. I misspelled it, but I meant to say breakout plus retest. Okay, so the retest meaning that we have to come back and validate the areas of support before a continuation onto the upside. Now, this is a daily time frame, of course. If we look at the 12-hour, it's not going to look the same because it's not being traded on a 12-hour. I'm talking about me with this triangle, right? So we are trading it on the daily on the daily price action here, right? So it's only a 1 cent difference from the price action in trading view versus trading view market close versus trading views after hours close. Okay, so the after hour close is 3:57. The daily traditional market hours is closed at 3:58. So let's go ahead and see what the potentials are here. Okay, so I know that we're at support right now. Okay, so I just really want you to know that it's okay even if we actually penetrate through this and then come right back up. Okay, and the reason why I say this is because we're already at a very, very critical support. I mean, first of all, we're within the golden pocket, which I've talked to you guys about, and it's a very bullish. It's a very bullish statement from the asset, right? So that golden pocket is usually located. Is located between the 0.382 and the 0.618 Fibonacci ratios. Okay, so in this case, just know that we have a critical support right down here, which could be an area of demand as a demand zone number 1 in this point, and this could be the demand zone number 2, right? But there is, I mean, no matter which way we look at it, guys, anything can happen in the markets. First of all, this is a shooting star. It is suggesting a downside continuation, right? So that's why I'm saying that there could be a possible bounce in reloading actually from the 337 to about 341 zone, right? So I want to just go ahead and point out that we are very close to the mean, right? So this is the ARC reversion variant algo that I actually just built, and this tells us where the mean is based on the current price action of the particular time frame. So on the 8-hour chart, the 349 level seems to be incredibly important here. And go ahead and notice that in today's price action, we came up to the Bollinger Bands, tested that very top, and actually rejected from it, printing another shooting star right over here as well, right? So that kind of gave us that downside objective, I want to say. Okay, so another thing is, guys, is that when we are, not everybody believes in this, but if plenty of people do believe in it, then it's probably a good thing to kind of consider, right? I was actually speaking to a family member saying, well, this breakout could be limited, right? So very likely we can actually sell off from $3.99 And he said, why? And I said, well, because it's, quote unquote, a psychological target, right? So it's breaking the $3 level into the $4 level. So which is why we would very likely have a lot of people sell off on there in psychological terms, right? As a psychological component, we can add it to the probabilities into the trade. And that's kind of what happened. Right, so you can see right over here on the H representing high, and you can see that it rejected from 404, and then it came right back down. Right, so lots of bulls, lots of bears trying to take over this area right here to a short scalp of potential, the 7 to 10% gain in the day. Right, it's not bad. It's just it's part of the game. So let's go ahead and continue on the analysis here and reference the volatility versus momentum profile on the 5-day chart. And as you can see, we still have an eternity to close this last candle, right? But the last time we closed it, which was about 2 days ago, we actually did get a signal, and that signal is consistent of a contraction phase starting from the volatility alongside the shorter time frame, the shorter time frame moving average here in the stochastic momentum, which is the 3-day exponential moving average, starting to make its curvature towards the upside. Okay, so that was, we were actually able to run a back test of that, right? So the back test doesn't have too many iterations, but it's pretty compelling to see the results anyway. So in the 5-day time frame, we've noticed 4 iterations, from which 4 were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of 100%, with an averaged upside thrust of about 162.05% over the span of about just a huge amount of days, right? So remember that these are just they're just statistics. And I mean, another thing that we could take into consideration here is that there is one iteration here that is kind of it's a bit of an outlier, right? So yeah, actually it would be this one here. It's about this is a 468.40% move to the upside that happened over the span of about a year, 372 days, right? So, and every other iteration is small, right? So this is 43 days, 47%, 64%, 28 days. And the last iteration was 22 days and 26%, right? So this is kind of the reason why the number is a bit exponential, and it does have a large time frame, right? So we can always adjust the data to kind of remove the outlier, but the thing is that it happened, and it is a condition that it met, and it did do it, right? So sometimes I tend to favor the condition no matter what, rather than the values of the iteration. So yeah, so that's kind of like my thought behind that, right? So upon the closure of this candle, we'll be able to see how the momentum and volatility reacted, right? So another thing to consider here, let me just go ahead and pull up an indicator here. So another thing to consider is that when we start contracting from a critical volatility, which is critical expansion, we're actually mean reverting, right? So even from critical contraction and start a expansion phase to the upside, that is essentially a mean reversion, right? So in this case, we can see that the mean reversion would essentially take us to about $5.73. Which is just massive, right? So I'm not sure if I'm remembering if we have any $5.73 targets, right? But what is interesting? Oh yeah, we do. Of course we do. So it's actually the breakout candle, right? So you take a trend line from the top side of the triangle all the way to the lower point of the triangle, apply it to the breakout zone, which is right here on this candle, right? So if we do that, then you see it's right over here, right? So I just put it to the right so that we can see the candle. You can see that the target of this is landing where? 572, right? So that's usually what happens with falling wedge. This is one way to actually look at its potential for breakout, or the target, the price objective, right? So good things there are lining up, and that's very nice. Okay, so now let's go ahead and reference the 8-hour volatility versus momentum, and you can see that the momentum oscillator still has, and it's still favoring the bulls here. Of course, we have a little tiny kink over here, right, expressing that there could be a little bit of weakness from the bulls, but definitely know that we are within the bullish control zone, right, which is above the 50 percentile of the stochastics oscillator. So yes, we did get that downside here, but it looks to be, and it could be in a sense temporary, right? It could just be a pullback for us to kind of regain some liquidity from the longs, or pick up some people right before we can continue on to that upside. So in this particular case, since we already went up to the mean and we're retracing back to contraction, there could be yet again. Go ahead and notice here that the 8-hour is suggesting $3.49, right? So $3.49 is very much where a few levels are to be considered. The not 382 at 354, right? So very, very confluent there as well. So yeah, so let's go ahead and just notice this one here though. So remember that the 8-hour back test, this one, of course, it's performed throughout the entire trading history of the COSM asset. Right, so these are all my notes here, the samples that I gathered for this data set here. So out of we have 9 total iterations, and 6 of which were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of about 66.66% with an averaged upside thrust of a massive 206.895%. So this thrust, and remember that this signal fired down here. Right over here, which is the opening of this candle. I'm sorry, the opening of this candle. Yeah, the smaller candle. There we go. So right upon the bottom side, before we started getting that upside, we fired the signal, and that has been going up since, right? So what's curious here, if you are new to the channel, right, what's curious is that the 8-hour critical contraction, from contraction to expansion, paired with volatility to the upside, the backtest of 206% thrust combined with the 5-day 162.05% land at almost identical actually at identical targets. So that's telling this 5-day backtest, which fired just yesterday, I think, is giving us a target of about $9.14, and the 8-hour target is actually giving us what? $9.14 as well. So very curious rhyming happening here. So which tells me that there's something happening within COSM, and it could be larger than what we actually perceive it to be, right? So, I mean, I'm not trying to speculate. I'm not trying to, say anything weird here. It just is what it is, and it, I can't express it to you in any other way, right? But another thing to kind of keep into consideration is this, right? So we can actually take a trend line from the larger triangle, from the center of it, right? So from the top of the triangle, the hypotenuse of the triangle, all the way down to the lower point, and apply it to the area of breakout, and actually it would be now adjusted to about here. So this is suggesting also a target within the $9 area too. So this is about $9.84, right? Which is already very close to the 272, which is $9.21. So you can see that a lot of $9 is kind of resonating here. And I mean, the other way that we can also take a look at this probability of a breakout, right, would actually be from the top side of the triangle, or the top of the hypotenuse, right, all the way down to the lower end, and then we can place it to that area of breakout, which has just happened today, and then this can actually suggest a pretty massive target, right? We shouldn't be talking about this just yet. I just want to let you know that it is there, right? So we'll take a little bit of a tag here, and we'll just apply it to there, just so that we know that it is present and it could be something, right? So it is suggesting about $20.94, and yeah, so we'll evaluate that later. And you know what? We'll go ahead and put a tag here on this one as well, right? So this one's about the 574 target, which is confluent with the 573 of the reversion variant on you already went over it with me here. No need to beat the horse here. So immediate short-term time frame 30 minutes suggesting downside here, as well as the 4-hour and the 8-hour. Okay, so it looks like it could be temporary, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we do have the 4-hour 14-day simple moving average located down here, and we also have that 14-day simple moving average located right down here as well. Okay, so in this case, that just means that we could use these moving averages as a form of support before a continuation onto the upside. And what's essentially telling us that it could be very probable is the 12-hour time frame. This is considering the downside that we got at the end of the day. Notice the position of the RSI signal, purple line. It's well within the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. Also notice here that the daily time frame is definitely still pivoted towards the upside. The buy daily time frame is now making a bullish cross upside of the 14-day simple, and the 5-day time frame is still, of course, above the 14-day simple moving average and at the gravitational zone. So that's why I'm saying that we could be facing maybe a pullback day on Monday, followed by a continuation to the upside, potentially Tuesday or Wednesday. So we need to validate these areas of support, right, and make sure that we can all, as retail, make sure that it is a good area before a continuation onto the upside, right, you guys? So please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, okay? Please refer to the links in the description below if you would like to join the ArcMasters trading course, which should be starting in the second week of April for the track 2, okay, you guys? So this is another opportunity for you to be able to claim your seat, get enrolled, and learn the strategies here from ARCa himself, right? So thank you, everybody, for listening in. Remember to just take this as entertainment, okay? I really can't suggest for you to buy or sell anything. Just do your own due diligence and everything will be good, okay, you guys? But with that said, I wish everybody a very good night, a great happy Friday, and a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.